I'm curious, in each of our characters' houses, there was something strange that was found in there that kind of made the cops question whether or not they were good or bad. If cops searched your house, what is the strangest thing that they would find? Thanks so much for joining me today. I've got RJ Collins, the director of Crescent City, which is coming to theaters, digital, and on demand on August 16th, 2024. It is a dark police procedural thriller with a great cast and plenty of twists and turns. I love the cast. I love seeing like Terrence Howard
Yeah.
back. I love seeing Nicky Whelan. Esai Morales was fantastic. So I'm really excited to talk to you more about them. And thanks so much for joining me.
Oh yeah, yeah. Look, we ensembled a good cast there during the SAG strike. We got very lucky.
Yeah, no, exactly. I love to talk about the cast, but first, I'm curious, how did you get involved in this movie? I know that this is, you have a couple directorial films in the past, but how did this come across your desk, and what about this really spoke to you? What dark secrets do you have hiding that you really wanted to put on the screen?
I was afraid people were going to think that when I did this movie. I've done. It seems like I kind of thrived during COVID and SAG strikes. I don't know why. That's when I decided to direct movies, but so I have my hands tied a little bit on budgets, but. No, yeah, this one, how it started was the writer I usually work with, is one of my, closest friends in Hollywood, for over 10 plus years. We were on another movie in 2019, shooting a film in Ukraine at the time. He was doing all this research on serial killers, and he came up with some amazing.
As you do, just normal.
I mean, yeah,
research.
that's his job to research everything, right? He's looking for all these stories. So he showed me some insane kind of things that were like true stories of these killers and what they were doing. And it was so fascinating and disturbing. And I'm like, we have to make a movie about this somehow, because the childhood trauma of these mannequins that I used to be scared of in the department stores with my mom, it kind of triggered it a little bit. But anyway, that's why we based some of the things off some of the mannequins, because that was part of public domain of some serial killers, what they did, which was just crazy. But yeah, it took a lot to tap into that dark side, kind of like how Seven and Zodiac, and it's a real kind of this movie. We kind of set it up to be kind of an homage of the '90s thrillers that really worked well, from the Bone Collector, and like I said, Seven, there's so many different ones that I love back in the
12
Bone
Monkeys,
Collector, the Bone Collector, all of them. So and Kiss the Girls. So that's how we kind of started the story. Rich wrote the script. After I read it, I'm like, man, we got to make this movie, because it's going to hook the audience from the beginning to the end. I mean, you're just never going to know who the killer is. And the writer even wrote it not knowing who he was going to pick to be the killer in the end.
I love that.
So that's why it portrays really well on the screen that way too, which is great. So that's how this all kind of came together. And it was a perfect storm at the right time, and we got all the cast together within, man, that casting went quick, because once we got Terrence in, and Nicky was already going to do this with me because we've been friends for so long and wanted to work together since 2007. So yeah, I mean, it came together, and it was I was first day shooting, man, I was just smiling because what a great cast. And the first scene we shot, I'm like, I know we have something special here.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love the idea that the writer didn't know who the killer was going to be, like, as they were writing, right? That's really fun. Like, they were kind of experiencing the story as they were writing. Did you see drafts as it was coming together, or did you kind of did you just bounce ideas off and then kind of wait for the final product?
Honestly, yeah, no, he wrote it. I mean, I saw a draft. Yeah, we did notes many times, but no, he came up with it. Rich is he's a beautiful mind.
That's awesome.
And disturbing. It's funny. He's the nicest guy, and he's funny, and he's kind of dorky and strong, and he can kick your butt, and he can kick your butt in golf, and then he write the weirdest things. You're like, and he's like so not a serial killer himself, but he's a fantastic writer. He can do all genres.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that last part about he's so not a serial killer, because all the things you were saying, I was like, that sounds like what you would expect, maybe a serial, like the nicest person, but really strong, can kick your butt, but he would never harm a fly. That's what they always say. And then you find out he's got something in his basement somewhere.
Maybe he's got a secret pool somewhere we don't know about. I don't know.
He's like, oh yeah, I brought these props from home. They're like, those look really realistic. Like, yeah, I know. I just, it's my research I've been doing.
Yeah, that serial killer I told you about, the mannequins, might have been my dad. I don't know. It's cool.
Who knows? And I love that you had been friends with Nicky Whelan. I was able to actually talk to her before for her movie The Flood, and she was fantastic to talk to. Like, lovely person, really kind of enjoyable time. So I'm glad that you she was right on board. Terrence coming on board. When did you like film this? You said that this was kind of like a SAG-AFTRA type project. So did you film this like right after the strike? Were you kind of trying to line things up
Oh,
so you'd be able to jump right in, or?
yeah, no, since we were an independent film, we got the SAG waiver during the strike. They allowed us to shoot the film. So that's how this movie came together. We had it independently financed, and then we got lucky that Lionsgate came on. But
That's awesome.
yeah, so we got to make the film since it was an independent movie during the strike. We got our waiver, and then because all that process took a little while, and the cast that we were kind of putting together had a specific window, we had to really cram it in when we finally got the waiver. And I had like 2.5 weeks to prep the film by the time everything kind of came together, which was insane. But we made it work, and we're really happy how it turned out.
Yeah, that is a quick turn, but no, that's perfect that everything worked out, and that you had like a pool of actors who were interested in doing something and available. Like you're never going to get their availability like that again. So it's really fantastic that that you were able to get this project together.
Yeah, and they were all so engaged and like willing and open, and we just collaborated really well together. And to be honest, watching them work, it's more of an audience. Like I look at when I'm directing as obviously I'm telling the story, but I'm also the audience, right? And so, and it's you're only as good as your entire team around you. I never think the director is the end all be all, by the way. It's like if I don't have the right HODs, the DP, the right casting, like and all of it, it's like putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And the producers were phenomenal on this movie. So we just had a great team of people that really collaborated well. And it was like probably one of the better sets I've ever been on in my life, where we all just got along and got things going. And, we pushed each other and challenged each other, but it worked out really well in the end.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love that you said like you were almost a collaborator. I didn't think about that. Like there's some very seasoned veterans in this ensemble cast. You could definitely, just kind of like sit back and enjoy their performances, but also probably learn a little bit from them. Maybe like ask for feedback or see, I assume that they would be happy to give feedback. I'm sure they probably weren't like, forcing it on you, but I'm sure if you asked, they'd be happy to like tell you stories or tell you, ideas and things like that.
Oh yeah, look, I mean, Alec alone, just with his whole entire experience in Hollywood is just phenomenal. And poor guy, what he went through too, and he was still a pro on our set, and we were very sensitive to everything about what he was dealing with. I mean, and Terrence and Esai and Nicky, like you said, their body of work is just it's phenomenal. Terrence, he has such a high IQ and a beautiful mind, and to see him just fully engaged, and him and I and the team just kind of bouncing ideas off each other and just having fun doing it during such a dark moment of this movie, right? It was something special. I'll never forget it.
That's awesome. And speaking of which, you said you threw this together in about 2 weeks, not threw it together, but you had to like get everything marshaled in about 2 weeks. Where did you actually film this? Was this filmed in Little Rock, Arkansas? I know that's where it's set, but I wasn't sure. I've never been to Little Rock, so I wasn't sure if that was actually the location.
Yeah, it was Little Rock. Crescent City is there's actually multiple Crescent Cities. There's one in California as well. So what I wanted to do was, and I love the title Crescent City, but it's not Louisiana Crescent City. It's we made it a fictitious Crescent City outside of Little Rock because we didn't want to like name a town and then freak people out that this all really happened just there, and then people are scared to go there. So we didn't want to like affect tourism in any way or anything. So we kind of we called it Crescent City, but we made it a fictitious town outside of Little Rock. Just keep people safe.
No, that's good. That's good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
You don't want a town to be, maybe sometimes it's good to be notorious, but I don't know. You don't want to like force that on them, I think.
Yeah, no. I didn't want to like turn away people from wanting to move to a certain area. So, yeah.
And this film, had a little bit of action, some intrigue. Was it tough to balance all of that in your schedule? I liked the car chasing. That was like a nice, different feel in this film. And you could tell that it felt exciting as you were like going through these turns and whatnot. It was a very different kind of like aspect of this film than the previous procedural stuff. So was it tough to balance all of that, or did you just kind of like hit your schedule and you're like, well, we got this, gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this, have this much time, let's just keep going?
Yeah, I had a phenomenal stunt coordinator, Loren Shaw. We've actually worked together a few times. She's amazing, and I'm very practical. I like things to be grounded and real. Like when I'm watching, I don't want it to seem like things are flying out of the air like Dukes of Hazzard. I'm like, I want this to be completely organic from the fighting to the car chase. It has to feel very real to me. And so we accomplished that. But I'll tell you, man, the DP and I, man, we worked many hours. I think I lost like 10 pounds after the production was over because we didn't sleep very much because we had to shoot this fairly quick. So even on our day off, we would go off and shoot. second unit driving shots, and even the coordinator, she would 6 a.m. after doing night shoots, she went off and we went and shot more stuff afterwards. Like, it was a labor of love, I'll tell you. That's why I'm saying, like, this team, if I could recreate that team as many times as I could, I would.
That's awesome. That sounds like a fantastic experience. Now, I know you have a busy day, so this will be the last question, but I'm curious, in each of our characters' houses, there was something strange that was found in there that kind of made the cops question whether or not they were good or bad. If cops searched your house, what is the strangest thing that they would find?
Wow. I honestly, I'm so vanilla. I don't know.
They all say
Strange.
that until you actually search.
Oh, you know what? I have it's not really strange, but for me, I have a collection of these crystals that we mined outside of hot springs, and it's phenomenal. And it's like all these crystals that we actually got to mine ourselves. It was one of our days off with Terrence. And it's a really cool collection of crystals. That would be the kind of, I don't really have a collection of dolls or mannequins or I don't know. I guess the crystals are
Body
pretty
parts.
cool. Yeah. No.
Well, outside, over by me, there's a city called Crystal City. So not saying you would, but if you ever were a serial killer, Crystal City with some crystals, that could be a call sign. I don't know.
A sequel. Maybe it's a sequel, right? Maybe we
go.
can somehow pull this off and go into a sequel with that.
Crystals, and it continues the alliteration too, so I love it.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks,
awesome.
David. Hey, well, thanks for your time.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry,
you can look for this sequel potentially in the future, but first check out Crescent City, coming to theaters digital on demand on August 16th, 2024. This is director RJ Collins. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for taking time to watch it and tell me your thoughts on it. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.